Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. And today is going to be another day of working on old equipment. We're going to be installing this big extension spring. It's a flotation spring in this old Hesston Hay Mower. So let's go inside, start putting the pieces together. So I do have several other things that need fixed on the mower today as well, but this is the big one right here. This is a almost $250 spring, and it's an extension spring. It's actually supposed to stretch this thing apart. So it's got some inserts in here that's got to go in, so let's start putting it together. First thing I'm going to do is put this insert in the vise, see if I can get this started. Okay, so I guess I'm going to start off easy with this. I'm just got a 12-inch crescent wrench. I'm going to put that on the top insert and see if I can get one of these two to turn. Looks like it's going to be the bottom one. And the top one goes a little bit. You can see the spring twisting, and that should actually be opening up the spring a little bit in diameter to allow it to thread on there. Try something a little bit bigger. I got an 18-inch pipe wrench. Just trying to get a little more leverage on this. It's moving. So I'm doing this like dry, you know, like there's no oil in here or nothing, so that may have been a mistake. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of penetrating oil on it, see if it helps. If anything, it'll just make it messy. Oh yeah, oh, it's smoked. A little heat in that friction right there. Oh, isn't that crazy? Tight. Right even right there. So on one end, it gets pinned into the machine and this threads into the insert. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there about 1.5 inches for now. And the other end gets an adjustment bolt, and this is how you tighten and loosen the spring. Can't put that in there until this is in the machine. Well, now I'm ready to go ahead and try to install this in the mower. So I need to get the tractor and the hydraulics hooked up so that we can raise the mower up as high as we can, because the higher the mower goes, the more this spring decompresses and goes back closer to the normal size. So hopefully if we raise it up all the way, hopefully all these bolts will reach and we can get everything put back together. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure the spring on the other side and see if we can take some of the measurements on the good side to basically give us a starting point for the new spring. So the flotation spring installs back here behind the wheel, and I want to take a measurement from the insert back here to the pin that holds it in place. 7 3/4 inches. So now we've got our new one adjusted to 7 3/4 to the pin. Just need to lock down this jam nut. All right, now I gotta crawl underneath here. See if I can get the spring up where it's supposed to go. And then that goes in there. Ah. Got the pin in. So each side of this pin gets a cotter key to hold it in place. Just bend those around. So our adjustment bolt goes through here, and then there's a jam nut that I need to thread on. That way we can lock this in place. I don't think that bolt's going to reach. I do not think that bolt's gonna reach. I think I need a longer bolt. So I just noticed a wasp flying around just a second ago. So when I was just under there, I looked underneath and there's a wasp nest up inside of there. And I've been reaching inside. It's a miracle I never got stung. I may get stung doing this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wasp. Here, buddy. Oh, I am gonna get nailed. You guys will probably see me get stung before this is over with. It's amazing how much that spring weighs. So this adjustment bolt does not seem to be long enough. I can't even reach it to start the threads. And then the other thing is the spring is actually hitting the frame. So the spring comes up and the bolt and the spring are kind of coming together like this. And that may be because we have it extended so high up. Maybe that's because the spring would have to slightly bend around the frame, which hits me as odd, but I don't remember the old spring being worn there, and that's not where the old spring broke. But it looks like I need to get another bolt. This one is roughly 6 inches, 3/4 inch bolt, and I'd say I need at least a 7 to be able to at least get it started, maybe an 8. So looks like I'll have to see if I have one. I'll probably have to go to the store to get this. That's going to slow me down. So I got the manual out. I want to see if I can find that bolt, number 7. And it says that bolt should be 9 inches long. That's 3 inches shorter. The bolt I have is 3 inches shorter than it's supposed to be. No wonder it doesn't line up. So there's no way I'm going to get that put together today. I'm going to have to wait and go to the store and get a bolt before I can get that spring finished. So the spring isn't the only thing that I needed to fix. There's actually, down here, there's some metal that is broken. You couldn't tell it was broken with the cutter bar installed. It kind of covered it up. So once I pulled the cutter bar out, you can see that this one piece is barely hanging on. So we're going to have to clean it up, get the welder out, see if we can get this all patched up. So as we look closer to where the cutter bar installs, you can see that whole piece is cracked. And the cutter bar bolts on right here, and it sits right above that, so you don't see it until I pulled it out, but it's definitely needs welded all back together. So I've went ahead and I've cleaned this up in the sandblaster. Hopefully it will weld a little easier, but you can see it fits perfectly together on that brake, and you can see this brake lines up pretty good. The middle one isn't lined up. We'll have to bend it back in place, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this side first. So we'll go ahead and stand this up with a magnet. I want to be able to see both sides of the brake, so that way I know it's put together correctly. So I've got some of these adjustable magnets by Strong Hand Tools, and I'm just going to put that on here, help hold this where it needs to be. So where it's broken right here, we've got that lined up pretty good, but everything's bent, so our other brakes aren't lining up. So I want to weld this one first, and then we're going to try to bend everything back to line up the other brakes. See if I can get a couple tack welds on here. I'm going to clamp this down to the table so I can hopefully bend it back into shape. May not work. Well, I think I got everything bent back fairly good. There's a slight gap here, but everything's lined up, and then I'm going to have a slight gap right there, and I'm going to have to fill all that in with weld. All right, I got it all welded back together. A lot of this was really thin stuff and it would blow right through, so I had to turn the welder down, and then I ran several beads over it to try to build that metal back up and then try to work it back into the thicker metal. So I think I can leave, I mean, they're kind of ugly welds. I think I can leave those, but this one right here, this is where it bolts together. So I need to grind that one down flat on both sides, and then I think this is ready to put back on. It's very close to fitting, but the angle is not right on this bracket. I was able to get all 4 bolts in there, but there wasn't enough threads hanging out to really get it to bolt up. So a lot of it has to do with this right here. It needs to be flatter, and it's probably hard to tell, but this end is going up as well. So I think I just need to flatten this out, and then I may need to bend this end down a little bit, and I think it'll bolt up just fine. It is very close. So this is one reason why I built this table the way I did, is because it allows me to weld on it, but yes, I can also really, you know, bend stuff back and be really rough with it as well. These machines are made for people with really long arms. It's not me. Okay, it's on there. So now it's time to put the sickle bar back in. I was able to find the longer rivets. So I was able to replace these 6 cutters here at the front where they clamp to the drive bar. So the entire sickle, there's new sickles on the entire sickle bar. So go ahead and put this in and bolt it up. So now I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that cutter bar isn't hitting anything. So on this top roller right here, it's made where you can put a wrench on here, but the cover has to be missing. And then you can basically turn it and turn the whole machine slowly. Make sure that it don't bind on anything. All right, I'm gonna kick PTO on, see how it sounds. So I just got back from the farm store and I bought a new 9-inch bolt. You can see how much longer it is from the original homemade bolt. The bad thing about these brand new bolts is there's only 2 inches worth of threads on there, so that's not much. So by the time we get that threaded into the spring, of course we're going to want to tighten that some more so we can start to load the spring, start to stretch it, right? So I can see us running out of threads really quickly. And if this doesn't work, I ended up buying some 3/4 inch all thread. So this is basically what they made, probably what they made this bolt out of, so we can make our own bolt that's 9 inches long if we need to. All right, I got about 3 turns on it. I'm gonna go ahead and lift this back up and this bolt should stick out the back once it's lifted all the way, and we'll see if we're going to have enough threads or not. So now that I've raised it up, you can see I've got, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches of bolt sticking out. So there's no way 2 inches of threads are going to work. No way. Oops, ran off the side. I don't know what I do with my glasses. I can't see without my glasses. All right, well, there we go. There is our 9-inch bolt. Still a little hot, but I think I can get it in with these gloves. All right, there we are, just tightening on the spring. Just started to. So I got out the manual and I'm reading how to set these springs. And it says once they're set, it should only take 75 pounds to lift the side. So if I lift on this one, you can see I can lift it up off the ground. I think this one's still slightly heavier, but yeah, I don't think that feels pretty bad. I think that feels pretty good. Well, I think I got everything fixed on the hay mower now, and that spring, I think it's been broken since I owned it. It always rode very rough, so now it floats. So it's only putting 75 pounds of pressure on those skid plates, on those skid shoes, and it should just glide across the ground. It should pull way smoother than it ever has, and with all new sickles on the sickle bar, hopefully everything cuts really good too. So I'm ready to go take this out, see if we can find some tall grass, see if we can test this thing. So this is the area between both of our hay fields. It's kind of this narrow little lane, and it didn't get cut when I cut that last hay field, so it's still tall. I'm gonna run the mower down here a couple times and then we'll look at it and we'll just see how well it cut. So I pushed the cut grass back, and you can see that it did cut the grass pretty good. I think I'm happy with that. So for the small amount of grass that we just cut, it looks like everything's working fine. Looks like it's cutting fine. Everything looked good. So I really won't know until I cut a big area. I don't have anywhere big I can really test it on. I do have the hay field over here that needs cut. It's going to rain tonight and tomorrow. But after that, in a few days, it looks like we're going to have several days of dry weather, like perfect hay cutting weather. So I'm hoping to take off a few days next week and get that hay field cut and get some hay put away for the winter time. And that will be a true test for the mower to see whether all these new parts and how much of a difference it made, because that field was red clover and it had a hard time cutting it. So I think testing it on that field is going to be kind of the ultimate test to see how well it does. But yeah, hopefully in a few days we'll be cutting some hay, and we'll know for sure whether we got everything running good. But I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.